Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Homeownership Heroes. I'm your host, Brian Burjans, and I'm joined by a special guest today, Todd Ernst, the president and CEO of PCS Grades.
Howdy.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So Todd, for the folks, because our audience doesn't know PCS Grades yet, they
Okay,
are going
yeah.
to now. Why don't you go ahead and explain to them what PCS Grades is?
You know what I think? I think I'll do that.
All right, good.
I appreciate you asking. It would have been awkward if you didn't ask.
Well, I got you.
PCS Grades. Think of us like an Angies List, but we're exclusively for the military veteran community, and we're exclusively focused on relocations. So it is you and me and our fellow military spouses that are out there saying that that's a good place to live, that's good base housing, that's bad base housing, This is a good moving company, and more importantly, when it gets around to the critical part of getting connected to the real estate professionals that are going to help you with some of your biggest investments in your life, we have that too. So we have mortgage lenders, we have realtors that are getting graded by our community, and it's from the people who we trust the most that are telling us who we should trust the most. So that's the basics.
So it's everything from moving, insurance, lending. I mean, it's the whole gambit, right?
So we don't do everything yet, and maybe we'll never do everything, but we're focused on what we say are the biggest must-solve relocations issues. So especially for those still wearing the uniform, am I going to live on base? Am I going to live off base?
Sure.
For everyone living off base, I'd highly recommend you put yourselves into the hands of a professional. And certainly if you're going to buy, you're going to be having to find a mortgage lender. So we're hitting those big must-solve. And some of the others, although arguably the spouses will tell me that getting a hairdresser is apparently sometimes way more important than getting a house.
Sure.
But we're going to let some of those other ones truly let Angie's List handle the rest of them.
So for the audience, where can they find PCS Grades? Like if they wanted to go do some research.
Well, you can try the Google machine and you'll probably find us there, but PCSgrades.com. Check us out. When you get there, you'll also see that we have a blog that it's linked to. So we have a lot of great area guides, for instance. We have a lot of great articles that are written by both military spouses, but also expert content written by folks like expert A-graded loan officers with Caliber Home Loans on there as well, but PCSgrades.com.
Okay, so I want to switch this real quick. So now let's put PCS Grades to the side and let's talk about Todd, the military guy.
All right.
So retired Air Force.
Yep.
How many times did you PCS?
Well, so I was active duty for 14 years, and I PCS'd 8 times in those 14 years.
Wow.
And then I did reserves the rest of the time, and so I've seen the best of both worlds, but I've now been in one place because my last 8.5 years in the reserves allowed us to stay in one location. So yeah, getting to do that was quite a bit different from moving every couple of years.
Sure. How many times did you purchase a home when you moved?
So one other time other than this, we purchased one time when I was still wearing the uniform.
Sure. And how did you find your realtor?
You know, see, I'm an anomaly. I was very fortunate because we were stationed in my hometown, which we don't often get that opportunity to go to family and friends that we otherwise would really trust to find those professionals. I had that. It was available to me. And so I used someone that my family recommended. So when we are PCSing or moving across the country because we're a veteran that's relocating our family for a job opportunity, and we don't necessarily have the friends and family in those locations, PCS Grades is going to fill that void to be that network for you.
That's awesome. Now, did you use your VA home loan benefit?
I did.
You did?
Nice. Somebody told me that I could use it, and I did. Yeah.
And how was that process?
You know, man, look at my hair. It's been a few years. It wasn't too bad back in the day. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah, it wasn't. So, you know, you hear a lot of myths, and I think there's a lot of challenges in the marketplace now with our active duty military members and even veterans having problems securing VA financing, only because when they go to these marketplaces, and, you know, it's not everywhere. And, you know, you can't use military versus non-military market to try to figure out where it is. It happens. And, you know, they're getting, you know, I don't want to say discriminated, but, you know, we'll call it what it is, where, you know, agents don't want to accept government contracts. And being that that's your world, what do you say to that?
Well, in the first place, I think it's bunk. I think it's something that it takes those of us who know that. I mean, we really have a responsibility to help educate through that. That said, and I know I keep going back to PCS grades, but the concepts are the same ones that you're trying to solve for. And that is, we got to make sure that we're getting people connected with those right experts. So you don't need a realtor who's never dealt with VA loans before, or maybe has dealt with them once or twice ever. You need an agent who's very familiar with the VA loan. Now, they don't have to know all the ins and outs of 100% of the VA loan, but that's where you connect them with an LO that does.
Yeah, and I think education's the big piece, right? Because there's a gap. There's a big time gap. Now, does PCS grades do do they help assist with the education piece?
So I think there's, education takes on a lot of different forms. And it's our position that if, what we see is if we get you into the hands of those top tier real estate professionals, those folks tend to be the ones that are very education minded.
Right.
And so if I can get you into the hands of that right real estate agent and that right LO, they're going to educate you along the way. So it's not so much that we have established our own, formal programs. As it is, we're trying to get people into the hands of the folks that are going to educate them as they go.
Makes sense. So last question. So advice to the young gun that's looking to buy their very first house, and what kind of advice would you?
Yeah, I tell you, it's a lot of the same themes, but you got to get connected with the right people. And the right people are not just the experts, as we keep talking about, because you absolutely have to make sure you're connecting to those folks. But it's also those folks who know and understand your unique situation. And in the military and in the veteran community, we know how unique our lifestyle is. And let's be clear, you don't have to be a military spouse or a veteran LO or real estate agent to serve our community. But you need somebody who very normally does serve our community. So it can be someone from outside of our community who's an expert who also still does understand a lot about us. So we need to get you into the hands of the right people so that they can help you make the right decisions. I know you've seen it, and I know we're wrapping up, but man, I've just seen, I've got real friends, I've got real stories of people that have gotten underwater in really bad ways. And these are financially devastating things when it happens. And so it's not fun to see that. And so we got to make sure that they connect with the right folks so they help make the right decision.
I always say, why would you want to send somebody to a person that does 2 transactions a year versus someone who does 40 in that demographic? You know what I mean? Like, VA is a niche. It's a benefit. People got to understand the ins and outs, and they also got to be advocates for you when they're going to battle against other contracts when you're putting an offer in on a house. And you want somebody that's battle tested. And I think that's, like you said, PCS grades, the way that the survey system works is it funnels up to the folks that are in it every day and getting it done.
Absolutely. I heard a metaphor earlier today. Somebody said something about a dentist or a heart surgeon and a automotive Jiffy Lube. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Guy was amazing speaker.
Yeah, no, I heard.
He was pretty good.
Heard about that guy. Okay, well, hey, listen, Todd, thank you for being on the show. One more time for the audience, how do they find you?
PCSgrades.com. Y'all find us online, please.
Okay, this has been another great episode of Homeownership Heroes. I'll see you next time.